Good morning. Today the topic is simple complex compound sentences. As you know, there are a variety of sentences, sentence structures. Those are simple, complex, compound, and there is one more which is like compound complex or complex compound type, which is when you become expert, when you become an expert in using all the three varieties, then you can always formulate the other compound complex sentence, the most complex ones. Okay, we can proceed. A simple sentence. A simple sentence have a subject and a verb and make a complete thought. It's never half baked or half left. It's always a complete thought. We call this independent clause. Example, Kevin likes apple. We know that we can understand from the sentence that Kevin is a boy and he likes apple. Okay, the sentence is complete and the sentence structure is Kevin subject and likes is verb. So we have subject plus verb. And next comes Kevin and Mary ate apple. A simple sentence can have its subject as just a single word like Kevin. It could be a compound subject like two subjects put together. Say for example here, Kevin and Mary. We have two subjects put together by the word and. We have Kevin and Mary. Together forms a subject, ate apple. And we also have a simple sentence with a compound verb. For example, they talked and laughed. They is a subject here and talked and laughed together forms a compound verb. So these three sentences are called simple sentence. It can be a simple subject verb or subject verb C, a complement, SVC, SVO, SVA. It could be just a simple independent clause, or it could always be like it takes a compound subject, or sometimes it can also include a compound verb. But all these, they together forms a simple sentence, right? So how do we use or where do we use simple sentence? We can look into the uses or tips. Simple sentences are generally used after multiple compound or complex sentences to draw attention to the content of the simple sentence. As you can see the structure, simple sentences are very simple in nature. So when you want to draw attention to a particular thing, you can put it in a simple sentence. But there's also a thing to be beware of. When simple sentences are used too frequently or consequently, writing will begin to sound choppy. Use simple sentences, but use them intermingled with other sentence structures. Like you cannot write the same way as you have as you have been writing in your school, like say 5th standard or 6th standard. You have to intermingle sentences. Don't always say like I'm a boy, I'm studying 1st standard, I'm studying in Sri Mata Higher Secondary School. So don't just keep repeating the same structure. It'll be sloppy or choppy. So better use different sentence structures to make your writing more interesting and also have a variety of sentence structures to make to draw attention of the reader to whatever the point you are saying or talking about. Next comes a compound sentence. Compound sentence have two or more simple sentences joined by a semicolon or coordinating conjunction. We have two things here. First is semicolon and second thing is coordinating conjunction. So when two simple sentences are put together by a semicolon or a coordinating conjunction, then we call it a compound sentence. We have example here. Tina went shopping. She bought a new bag. These two sentences are combined with a semicolon in the middle. And second sentence, Tina went shopping and she bought a new bag. So, and is a word that combines the two simple sentences. How do we identify two simple sentences? We saw that simple sentence have a subject, verb and object, or subject, verb, something like that. So, we can see Tina subject, went verb, and shopping complement. And we have another, she bought a new bag, she subject, bought verb, a new bag complement. Okay, so we have two sentences, two simple sentences, they are put together with a semicolon. And second thing is coordinating conjunctions. As we can see, we are using coordinating conjunction and in the second sentence to combine the two simple sentences. And what are the coordinating conjunctions? We have the list here: for, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. In simple, you can remember this with an acronym: FANBOYS. As you could see, FANBOYS stands for, and, nor, but, or, yet. So this is what the coordinating conjunction stand for. So for is used to show cause or effect. I have to find a new job, for I'm unemployed. And joins things or ideas. I have one dog and 3 lovebirds. This, if you change that into simple sentence, it could be like, I have one dog, I have 3 lovebirds. Okay, you have two simple sentences here. So you can combine them using and, which is a coordinating conjunction, and nor. Nor, when you say nor, it's always a negative thing. It continues a negative idea. Neither Mark nor Mary were at the school yesterday. So both of them, they were not at the school. So it's which is a negative idea. So we are using nor here. And next comes but. But to show the opposite or downside. I go to work on Sundays, but I don't go to work on Saturdays. So you have to work on Sundays or Saturdays, but you don't work on Saturdays. So but gives you the opposite idea. So that's how I like chocolate, but I don't want that now. Okay, so but to show the opposite or downside, or shows a choice. When you have to choose something from two things, then you can always use or, like this or that. So do you have brothers or sisters? So we have the question here, does Chitra have any brothers or sisters? Like, it's an option. Does she have a brother or does she have a sister? So, and that's where you use or. And next comes yet, to show the opposite or downside. But yet is also used in the same meaning as but with a slight difference. You could understand it only when we are using it often. I really wanted my son to study at the university, yet he left the school. So this is used the same meaning as yet, right? So that's with the coordinating conjunctions. We have only these 7 coordinating conjunctions to combine two simple sentences and to make compound sentence. You could see that. So there are only 7 coordinating conjunctions to combine independent clauses. So you can be very confident. If you want to make a compound sentence, you can always remember to use these 7 coordinating, any of the 7 coordinating conjunctions. But you could ask, we can use and, or we can use a comma instead. And if you're joining two compound sentences, remember it makes sense even if you use just a comma. See, if you join two independent clauses with only a comma, you will create a comma splice. Comma splice is, though accepted by some of the writers, it's always an error. It's always considered error in a formal language. We consider the using of comma to combine two simple sentences as something informal. So next comes the complex sentence. Complex sentences, this is a structure. They have a simple sentence and a dependent clause that begins with a subordinating conjunction. When the dependent clause is first, add a comma. So this is how the structure of complex sentence will be like. So you have seen that independent clause is where we have SVO or SVC pattern, which doesn't depend on any other sentence for its meaning, whereas a dependent clause always depends on the other clause, that is independent clause, for its meaning. So it's not a complete thought. That's what they say. A dependent clause is not a complete thought. And subordinating conjunctions is always used to form complex sentence. We can just look into subordinating conjunctions in the next slide. So the example given here is the team won the game, so the crowd cheered. So is the conjunction here. And when they won the game, the crowd cheered. You can also write it this way. As we saw the rule here, when the dependent clause is first, add a comma. So when they won the game is a dependent clause. It comes first and a comma is added after that to make the complex sentence. When they won the game, the crowd cheered. So now the time for subordinating conjunctions. As we have fanboys for coordinating conjunctions, we can have this poster. I saw a Wabub poster. I saw a Wabub. That's the acronym. But unfortunately, the subordinating conjunctions does not end here. There are more number of subordinating conjunctions, but these are the very key terms. I saw a Wabub. If, since, as, when, although, while, after, before, until, because. You can see that in the next slide. So this is how you have to remember them. I saw a Wabub. So we have all these examples here. If to show condition, since to show result, as to denote a reason that something happened, when refers to time that something was happening, although to show opposite statements, while refers to the movements. So we have all these uses here. We can look at one by one. If to show condition, if is a conditional clause. Let me know if you go to school. We can say, let me know if you have classes tomorrow, right? Since, to show result. Whoever says so is a liar. If you say so, then you are a liar, the result. As, to denote a reason that something happened. As I am suffering from fever. That's a common example. I did not feel good about it, as I was always an introvert. Just because I am an introvert, I didn't feel good about it. And as I am suffering from fever, we say like, as the result, as a result of me having a fever, I didn't come to school or college yesterday. So when refers to the time that something was happening. When I was a kid, I used to eat a lot of ice creams. So when refers to time that something was happening. Although, to show opposite statements. Like if you have contrasting ideas, then you can use although to put them side by side. So although he was a president, he was so humble. Abdul Kalam, he was a president. Although he was a president, he was so humble. While refers to the moment something is or was happening. Like if something is moving, something was happening, then you will use while. The mailman delivered a package while you were at school. This was happening when I was at school. Something was happening in my home. So we use while there. After, before, after, the order. After means tells us about the order sequence. I can cross after the green light is on. You can come to school or you can come to college after Corona holidays. Before, when you want to talk something that happened before something, like preceding something, then you can always use before. I had a doctor appointment before I went to church. Before here. Some appointment that happened that preceded something else. Next, until. Until means up to the point that something has happened. Until next year, you can't come to college. Up to that point of time. Until next year, you can't come to college. Until you get rid of all your bad intentions, you cannot be a pure human. Okay, it's something like to that point of time that something happens. And next comes because, the last one, to show reason. She usually eats at home because she is allergic to restaurant. I come to college every day because I like my students, right? And so because you have plenty of examples and you have plenty of writings that use because to show reason. So that's where you use because. And where you use complex sentences, they actually we have to use different varieties of sentence, and complex sentences they are one among them. And but when we are using complex sentences, as we saw, we have two methods. We can use the subordinate clause either in the beginning or at the end. Only thing to be noted is when you are using at the beginning, you have to use a comma after that. If it comes in the second part of the sentence, then it's not necessary to use a comma. So that's about complex sentence. Thank you.